Hello there everybody, how's it going? It's Jessie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff here on FlossTube, and I am here on this Monday, June the 3rd, 2024 with an update video. My first update since mid-April. I took a little break there. So we're gonna see if this is a comeback or if this is a one-off. I'm not entirely sure yet, but I am here today to talk about some stitching stuff. Before I get into everything though, welcome everybody. Welcome to both my returning viewers as well as anybody who is new here. Perhaps you're checking out my channel for the first time. Thank you all so very much for spending part of your day with me. I very, very much appreciate it. On this channel, I talk mostly about cross-stitch, though sometimes I will talk about books and knitting. Because it has been like 7 weeks or something like that since my last update, I have read some books and I have done some knitting, but in the interest of time, we're just sticking to stitching today. Yeah, I don't have a huge window here, so we're just going to talk about the cross-stitch, and then if this is a comeback, then next time, perhaps I'll talk about some of the books I have read lately. So I feel like I should maybe address the break because I did post in my community tab when I decided to take a break. And so I just feel like I should talk to y'all about it and just be very transparent. The reason for the break is that I have been struggling with a lot of things, but namely the coming on here to talk about my cross stitch and the pretty things that I'm working on. And to some extent it feels very frivolous by comparison with what is going on half the world over in Gaza and Rafah and Palestine. It feels very capital of the Hunger Games, and I don't like that sensation, and I don't like contributing to it. The night of the Met Gala, my social media feed was bombarded with these pictures of these elegantly dressed people, and interspersed were stories from Gaza. And I'm just having a hard time. I feel like because in the West, we are acting as if it's half the world over and it doesn't affect us, and it should, and it does affect me. It does affect me on the day-to-day. And so I get the sensation that my hands are tied, that I can't fix it. I want to fix it. I want to stop the suffering. But I still feel stalled. I feel stuck. I feel incapable, which is never a good feeling. I am not completely incapable. There are ways in which to get involved and to try to get the rest of, in particularly this country, the United States, on board with supporting a ceasefire. There are myriad ways that I can get involved in trying to help as best I can. And so I am still struggling with the idea of showing my pretty cross stitch that I have been doing over the last 6 weeks, when the situation over the last 6 weeks, 8 months, 75 years in Palestine has not gotten any better, and if anything has gotten significantly worse. I'm still gonna struggle with that dichotomy. I am a firm believer that cross stitch is therapy. I have had some difficult times over the years. Let's just call it like it is. I had postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety that was never fully treated and never fully resolved. And I am still dealing with some of the sort of long-term effects of that. And so leaning on my stitching in times of stress and in times of strife, that works for me. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and stitching helps fill my cup, as well as sharing my stitching with you all, sharing my stitching with like-minded people who also lean on their stitching in times of stress. And I mean, every day of the week, whether it's a good day or a bad day. That also fills my cup. And so the only way that I can be of service and of help to people who are in need of my help, then I've got to do what I can to fill my cup to be able to do so. So we're gonna try this out. We're gonna give this a go to see if I can manage to do both. Manage to empathize and to care, and also to share my stitching, because I do stitch on some pretty stuff and I like to share it and I like to talk about it. And since my husband is a board gamer and my 3-year-old is not a stitcher yet, hopefully she will be, but we'll see. I've got nobody in my life that I can really talk about stitching with. So anyway, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about some stitching stuff, but some actionable items. So I am a firm believer in not just sitting here and crying, as cathartic and as helpful as that can be for the individual. Actual actionable items can move things forward. So I came across this weekend an organization. They are, hold please, I don't want to get the name wrong. Operation Olive Branch. Okay, so this is an account on Instagram, and this is their profile here. I will put the username on the screen here because I think that just kind of washed out. Operation Olive Branch. On their profile is their link tree. And if you go to their link tree, they have, I don't know, 20 different options for places where you can support. So there is a send one-click emails to rescue band family and creator accounts. So because of the way that the Western media works and social media and whatnot, there are creator accounts that have been banned unnecessarily. And so there are some links to just send a one-click email. All you have to do is push a button and hit send, and it helps encourage the bans to end. So this can be helpful. There are places that need your financial support if you are able. $1 is more than $0, and so these things can help. There is on-the-ground partners in the perinatal project. There are accomplice applications so that you can volunteer to help them. This is good stuff. Mutual and direct aid. This is a good one. There are 6 here. So direct places that you can provide some help if you are able. And then ways to spread the word. So this is good stuff. So I am going to stick their username in the drop-down box below for some actionable items if you, like me, are feeling like your hands are tied, because I have that sensation regularly. Okay, one other thing that I wanted to talk about before we get into the stitching is it's Pride Month. And so that's very exciting. Pride Month is, I'm a big fan of Pride Month. I believe in Pride 365, but an entire month devoted to the LGBTQIA+ community. I am here for it. I am becoming less and less interested in rainbow capitalism. And so that means that those organizations that send me an email on June 1st with their pride, but they don't sell anything, they aren't queer themselves, I am less interested in them. So I thought that when I film FlossTubes, that I would highlight a queer business or a queer artist that I either have bought from or am interested in buying from in the future. And I have an order placed with Jess. This is Arthur Buddis Designs. Again, username here on the screen. Jess has sound color synesthesia. So what that means is that they see sounds in color. And so they hear a name and that presents as color to them rather than the pronunciation of the name itself. I have been following this creator, this artist on Instagram for a very long time, and I have an order placed for some earrings and a keychain from them. Just to give you an example, if you, like me, are into mandalas, so this is how Jess sees the name Jillian. This is how they see the name Jillian. And I am such a huge fan of this. Not only the creation of the art, but also just using their skill and their creativity. It's fantastic. This is how they see the name Prisha. I love this. I love looking at these. I love every single one that they put out. So if you are looking for some art, so those were some digital things, but they do, like I said, some earrings. So these are Zodiac. These are the Zodiac. Let's see. Here's another. The earrings, just very cool. Oh, I have a credit to redeem. What do you know? So anyway, I just thought that I would highlight Jess. That's really cool. So I think that covers the preemptive things. Let's get into the stitching. Like I said, I don't have a huge window here. My husband is home for lunch. It is Monday. My husband is home for lunch. And it was pretty much a now or never film this video, because tomorrow, Tuesday, June 4th, I am leaving to head out to DC, and then on Wednesday morning, I fly out to Cincinnati for StitchCon Weekend A, and I'm geeking out. I'm geeking out. So I don't have a huge window here because I only have watched the Wild 3-year-old for about another 30 to 45 minutes. So we are not going to cover everything that I have worked on in the last 7-8 weeks. No, don't have the time for that. So we are paring it down just a little bit to what I ended up doing for May and what I am planning to work on in June, kind of some of it, not quite all of it. So let's dive in. Let's get it started. So this first thing I didn't work on in May. I started this on April 30th. I had a little cross-stitch palooza on the last day of April, and I worked on 4 projects on April 30th. The first was Secret Stitch, so I won't be showing that to you here today. The second was this project that lives in a new project bag. This is my Cacked Ass project bag. I thought this was pretty fantastic for Secret Garden by Hello from Liz Matthews. I love this pattern. I was like immediately making plans to start this when it dropped on Liz's Patreon. The designer Patreons is a dangerous rabbit hole, but a fun one nonetheless. So I got this bag and I think it's fantastic. It's along the same lines as the veggies one that I have also from Stitch and Button. Yeah, it's along the same lines. So I started this on the 30th, and I'm showing it to you here because I'm going to take this with me to StitchCon this week. And here is my starting point. Now this is no longer available on Liz's Patreon. It will be available, I believe, sometime next year to the general public. But this is why it's worth it to be on your favorite designer's Patreon if they have one. It's a dangerous route, but these designers are just so generous that it is worthwhile to support them. So just a really simple little start here. This design, as you may have been able to see from the cover there, has two versions. So we have a muted version and a vibrant version. And I think, tentatively, I am going to blend the two. So I'm doing the muted version for the background and the vibrant version for the bird. So I have lots of threads for this one. It is all in DMC. It's Pattern Keeper compatible. I'm a big fan. So yeah, so that is Secret Garden, and I am loving it. My fabric, I meant to look at that. Sorry guys, it's been a while. This is a 40 count Newcastle linen in pewter from Coloring Cotton. It was a fabric of the month, I think fairly recently actually. It's a gorgeous gray blue color. So that is my start on Secret Garden, and like I said, this is one that is coming with me to StitchCon this week. Oh, I'm getting antsy. Okay, so May. So historically speaking, May is mania. In 2015, a couple of folks, Garrett, Coffee Stitcher, and another individual by the name of Angie, I think. And I don't know where Angie is. No clue. But nonetheless, so Garrett and Angie created this thing called Stitch Mania, where the goal was to start 15 projects in the first 15 days of May. I don't know if it just worked out like this or if this was planned, but this was in 2015. And it has evolved and changed, and it became a Facebook group, and now the Facebook group is gone, etc. But the premise of Mania, or Stitch Madness, or just a wild stitchy May, has continued. It has perpetuated. So I was waiting for WIPGO calls to determine what I was going to do for the month of May. And WIPGO definitely put in its vote. I wasn't exactly pleased with what it was, but the results cannot be denied. So we got number 13 in May, and on my full coverage WIPGO board, that was a project. It wasn't a free space on my full coverage board. And so I decided to do Page Finish May, where I was trying to tackle as many full coverage pages as I could. So I'm getting prepped to do this, and I'm like, okay, I think I've got a guaranteed 3 that I can get done, maybe a 4th if I squeeze it in. But then people started talking about their Manning May Sal. So Manning May Sal was started last year by Marjorie Made Stitches, Cam the Stitcher, Bridget the Museum Stitcher, and Megan the Seattle Stitcher. So the 4 of them created Manning May Sal last year, and I had a ball working on my Carolyn Manning design. I did not have this one included in my full coverage previously, and I'm kicking myself for it, or at least I was. But I appreciated the early reminder for Manning May Sal, because it meant that I squoze this in when I probably didn't have the time to, but I did anyway. So the next project that I worked on was Sweater Weather by Carolyn Manning Designs. I want to make a new start so bad. I want to start another Carolyn Manning. She has a whole Norse mythology series. There's a Christmas one that I want to do. I'm not a beachy person, but Beachcomber, those colors are soothing. There's the birth, there's so many. There are so many, and they're coming out all the time. So anyway, I decided to continue working on this. Again, sticking with the Page Finish May plan of attack that I had, I decided to do it snowball style. So start with the one that was the closest to the finish and then continue on from there. My one that was closest was obviously Sweater Weather. And so here is where I am with the page finish and a bunch of park threads. So yeah, page finish. It's a little bit beyond the borders of the page. The page cuts off a little bit, like halfway through these blocks here, and somewhere in there. But I was either continuing my thread or continuing the block. So yeah, page 1 finally finished. I started this during May of 2020 and worked on it a lot last year and got the page finished here in 2 days. It took me 2 days to do about 1,000 stitches on this one. These are so much fun to stitch. I've seen a bunch of people echo this. These are so much fun to stitch. They're very zen. They're methodical. There's quite a few colors, but they're in decent sized chunks. Yeah, it's good. It's really good. It's really good. So I'm stitching this on 32 count cream Belfast linen from Zweigart using the called for DMC 2/2. This is my only full coverage piece that I am stitching that way. It's not a typical full coverage. Like it's not your Heaven and Earth design or Charting Creations or Pain Free Crafts or what have you. So that's why it wasn't included in my full coverage whipco board. So I'm glad to have had the opportunity to work on it in May. It looks like I'm going to have an opportunity to work on it again in August because Sammy J stitches for her birthday. She's doing a Carolyn Manning style, and so I'm going to work on this again in August for her birthday. I thought I might have a new start, but I think I gotta just stick with this. So that is sweater weather. Love that. Sweater weather. Okay, up next is something that I worked on towards the beginning of May and again at the end. And that is living in this project bag. I did a little bit of a bag reshuffle. And so living in this bag, also by Stitch and Button, is my Personal Sunshine. Personal Sunshine is very purple, and so in there. I can now get my full coverage pieces to fit in just a regular bag rather than the big bags. And perhaps I can show how I do that in another video. So, Personal Sunshine by Heaven and Earth Designs. The artist is Jeremiah Kettner. Jeremiah Kettner is no longer with Heaven and Earth Designs, so this is a retired chart. I will say thank you to the folks who let me know that Thread Geeks now charts Jeremiah Kettner's artworks. I am really looking forward to seeing what pieces they chart. It really warmed my heart that y'all saw Jeremiah Kettner and thought to contact me. I just so appreciate that. So I'll be really excited to see what they chart. The first couple were really exciting. So like I said, I worked on this at the beginning of the month and then again at the end. My page finish was down here, page 14. And so page 14 was her face and the rest of her arm up to her shoulder and a whole lot of side boob. I felt kind of bad sticking the needle in there. But nonetheless, it was good and easy stitching to get page 14 finished. So very exciting. So this piece I am working towards finishing by the end of the year. I have a monthly goal of 5,500 stitches each month, and that will see the finish by the end of the year. To get page 14 finished was like 1,700 stitches, I think. So obviously I needed still nearly 4,000 more. So at the end of the month, once all the page finishing was complete, I came up here to start back up at the top. And the coverage on camera is always worse than it is in person, but it is what it is. So I am back up here at the top. And here's the exciting thing. That right there, that is the top right corner. I am stitching across two pages, pages 5 and 6. Page 6 is 12 stitches wide. So that last column of pages is really, really narrow, really partial. So I'm just stitching them together. And yeah, I really had a ball working on it towards the end of May. Getting into the cloud means a lot of black stitching, which goes quickly and I'm just really super motivated to have that edge starting to develop. That's just really cool. So this is a piece that will come out in June here, so that I can get my 5,500 stitches goal. That will finish out these 2 pages, and it will also finish out the sun for the most part. And I may just go ahead and finish out the sun this month. I don't really have a whole lot of extra time, but nonetheless, we'll see what I can get done. At the very least, my 5,500 stitches. I worked on this at the very bitter end of May. And on May 31st, I was like, I'm not going to get this done. I'm not going to be able to accomplish my 5,500 stitches goal. But that's okay. I wasn't stressed about it. It was just reality. I wasn't going to be able to accomplish the goal in time. So I mentioned that to my husband, and my husband was like, well, let's do what we can to help you try to accomplish that. And so I did. With 3 minutes to spare, I put in my last stitch to reach my goal of 5,500. So that was pretty cool. That is Personal Sunshine. This is a 25 count antique white Lugana. I'm stitching this 1/1 full cross. I'm using the called for DMCs, and the black I have swapped to Anchor Black. There she is. Now you can have a real sense of how big she's going to be. She's not very big. 106,000 stitches total. This is a really quite small for a HAED, for a full-size HAED. But it is also older, so there's that too. Up next, one of my full coverage WIPGO calls for May. Reminder, there were 3 of them. So my next one that was the fastest to the finish lives in this new project bag. This is by Pam's Needle and Thread on Etsy. I will be sure to link that in the description box below. I was looking for more big bags, only to realize that I don't necessarily have to have the big bags for my full coverage, but whatever. So in here lives Quick Stitch Day and Night. The artist here is Nadia Strelkina. I'll put a note here if they are retired or not. A bunch of artists have retired off of HAED lately, so there you have it. Preview here of what this will look like finished. This is called a quick stitch because it is a crop of a full-size version, but don't let the quick stitch fool you. This is over 200,000 stitches total, so it's not really quick. It's just a crop. But this is the night half of Day and Night by Nadia Strelkina. And I was working on page 2, and I now have page 2 finished. And I love this project so much. This is truly one of my favorites. I think it's the colors. I mean, it's got to be the colors. The purples, the purpley blues, the teals. It's got to be the colors on this one. But I really enjoy this one a lot. So this came up for WIPGO earlier this year, where I got the half page and then the page finished. I think it took 4 days to do the 2,000 stitches for this page. So this project is done for the year. We're not quite to the halfway point, and I don't love saying that, but I've got to make some time for some other things. So this one is done for the year. But next year when I get back to it, I'm going to start over here. I believe this is page 7. I think it's a 7. I think it's page 7 over here. I think this is 6 pages wide. And page 7, or whatever this page is a moth. It's like the majority of a moth is in this page. And I'm geeked to stitch on that. It's going to be some confetti, and I am looking forward to it. Yeah, so that is Quick Stitch Day and Night. Page finish, done for the year. Okay, up next was space number 13. And space number 13, at the beginning of the year was a free space, but I ended up putting this I ended up splitting this project because I had originally had one block for it on WhipGo, and it was just too much to try to get the page finished with one block on this one. This is one of my more difficult pieces, mostly because of how big it is, but also like it's just a different kind of complexity. I don't know that I can actually articulate what it is that makes it more difficult. But anyway, this is Quick Stitch Once Upon a Fairy Tale 2 by Amy Stewart. Also, do not let this one fool you. This is my second largest project I have ever attempted, despite the fact that it's called a quick stitch. Again, it is a crop. I believe that this is a crop of the supersized version of Once Upon a Fairy Tale. And so this is just a piece of the supersize. So I have a really long way to go. This one is 72 pages total, and now I have one. I have one done. And I loved it. I really enjoyed stitching this. I have had some struggles with this piece over the months that I have worked on it, because the confetti is just different on this. Like I said, I don't know how I can articulate it. So this one is challenging, but I really enjoyed my stitching session with this, getting the page finished. It was something like 2,500 stitches to get it done, and it probably took me 5 days to do it. But just very, very exciting to see that page finish. Again, this one is done for the year, and that feels really silly having just told you that it's 72 pages, but again, lots of other goals to get to. After Quick Stitch Once Upon a Fairy Tale, I decided to try to squeeze in a 5th page finish. My secret stitch is fairly simple, at least in this top row of pages. It is a full coverage design. I think I've said that in the past. And so I work on it every month for 1,000 stitches. So it was an extra 2,400 stitches on top of my 1,000 that I was already planning on to see the page finish on that. So I did get that page finish. That one went really fast, but like I said, it's a fairly easy project right now. So got my 5 page finishes. So exciting. I have 5 page finishes this month. That was a lot of fun to go for that and to achieve it. Yeah, I liked it. I got no official finishes during the month of May, but 5 page finishes, I'll take it. For the first time in history, at least recorded history of my tracking, my combined finishes, so my page finishes combined with my actual finished projects, is now superseding my starts. So I have 244 combined finishes since 2017, I think. Maybe even 2016, but I think it just goes as far back as 2017, and I have 242 new starts in that time, so that's kind of cool. I doubt I will ever get 2 more finishes than new starts because I can't stop starting things. So anyway, so that was the end of Page Finish May. I had one more full coverage piece to get to for WhipGo, and I thought I might try to push for this page finish as well. However, I started working on it at exactly the wrong time. So my daughter we're in potty training. We are in potty training mode, and I was working on this project the very first weekend that we got that going. That was a mistake. I didn't do much stitching those first couple of days of potty training, which is, I mean, it's all good. It's all good. We are doing what we got to do. So this project got its minimum goal and no further because I just ran out of time. So that is a project that lives in this project bag. This is by the Brass Button on Etsy. And this is what Personal Sunshine used to be in, but I thought it's super Halloween, so let me make the switch. So this is Haunted House by Donna Gelsinger. And I saw that Donna Gelsinger recently released Christmas House or Holiday House. I might need to do that. It's the same house, just decorated for Christmas. This is my largest piece. This piece is massive. It's over 500,000 stitches all by its little lonesome. And this one is also pretty difficult because of its size. The confetti is there, but it's not bad. It's not bad confetti. It's not a lot of confetti. So let me sort through my bed sheet here to get to the stitching. And so this one I just needed to get the half page. When I say half page, I mean half of what I have left of the page. So I'm definitely beyond the half page point on this one, but I needed to get half of what I had left, and that's what I have accomplished. This one is stunning. I love this piece. Those leaves, lots of confetti, not gonna lie, but not too bad. This is fun. It's really a lot of fun to stitch on. It was a stressful time in our house. I am not great with change, and it has required a big shift in our routines. So it was a stressful time, but nonetheless, I enjoyed working on it, even though it took 6 days to do 2,000 stitches, which is a little slow for me, not gonna lie. On full coverage, it's a little slow, but to be expected. So that takes care of full coverage whip go. I didn't bring any stats for May, in interest of time kind of a situation, but I think outside of 3 days in the month of May, I worked on full coverage all month long. There were 2 no stitching days, and there was 1 day where I worked on non-full coverage things. But yeah, otherwise it was a lot of full coverage in May, which was fun. It was really enjoyable to do that. So I have my monthly pieces. I call them my small monthly goals. They are 5 projects that I work on each and every month towards a small goal. They are not necessarily to finish the piece, but they are to advance it along to maybe set up for the finish in the coming years. So I worked on Summer Sampler, Ragnarok, Monthly Quaker, which I will show you here in a little bit. I did not get to Touching the Autumn Sky. So that is a piece that I will have to give an extra rotation here in June to get caught up, because I wasn't able to work on that in May. It was a toss-up of I could work on Touching the Autumn Sky or I could work on Personal Sunshine. It was kind of one of the two, and I chose Personal Sunshine because I want that done this year. I did not bring Ragnarok nor Summer Sampler here to show you today. I will show that to you after the next time that I work on it, if this is a comeback. But I do have my monthly Quakers to show you. So that is what I am currently working on. So I started July Quaker on April 30th. And then my small monthly goal on these pieces is a large motif and then some small motifs to go along with it. So my goal for this in May was this big vase of flowers with the bird sitting in it. That whole motif was my goal for May. And then here in June, since there aren't really any true large motifs, I'm just going to finish it. But that kind of comes with some further information. My non-full coverage whip-go board was July Quaker and also August Quaker. So I am working on both of them, and I'm actually working on both of them at the same time. So let me show you where we are up to. So I have here, oh, you're getting the pink. Oh, that's such a relief. It's orangey, but it's definitely more pink than what I see in person and what I see in pictures. That's so nice. Okay. So I did a, so this is 28 count antique white cashel linen from Zweigart. I am stitching these tiny. I'm stitching them 1/1 on the 28 count linen. Because I am stitching them tiny, and in the interest of not having to buy 36 Classic Colorworks, I am doing DMC conversions. 99.9% of it is Wendy's conversion, the conversion that she provided. July Quaker, I decided to switch it up I changed up the red for what I thought was going to be a pinky coral color. It's definitely looking very orange. In person and in pictures, it looks very orange. Here on the camera, you're getting more of the pinkier sides of it. But yeah. So I am a Virginia Tech alum, and our in-state rival is the University of Virginia. And the University of Virginia's colors are orange and blue. But I asked my husband about it, and he said, like, don't worry about it. It's cool. It's all right. It's not super UVA. It's not UVA orange. It's not super UVA navy. So, like, don't worry about it. And I wasn't ripping it out. I was going to stitch it again before I ripped it out. So anyway. So there is July Quaker. And then yesterday, I started August Quaker. So here's the thing. Two things here. These are great for retreat stitching because one thread goes forever. And this is super easily portable. It's super small. It goes in one of my smaller nerges. So I could potentially pick this up and walk around the room and stitch on it. I have stitched a lot of these in Ohio at various retreats, and I think even New Jersey. I have worked on these. These are super great for retreat stitching. So I am going to finish these while at StitchCon this week. So July Quaker, I am going to do the bottom motif there. Let's see if I can hold this and show you at the same time. So this bottom motif I'm going to do here today or first thing tomorrow morning before I head out. And then I will just finish up the July on Thursday. And then August, that's going to be my focus piece for today and tomorrow and travel, airport stitching, etc., etc. So my whip go goal, my non-full coverage whip go goal is 1,500 stitches or the finish. So I could stop at 1,500 stitches on August. 1,500 stitches will finish July, so that's going to be finished regardless. But August, I could stop at 1,500 stitches. However, I did a giveaway last fall, and Tasha of Britches Get Stitches won my giveaway for the From the Heart Needle Art designs. And so I was sending these monthly Quakers to her in sort of 3-month installments. And so I think it would be cool to get July and August finished and then just hand them to her because we're both going to be at StitchCon weekend A. So I'm just going to hand over the ones that I haven't sent to her yet and have August finished in time to do that. So that's the plan. I am definitely taking these with me to StitchCon this week to work on. So exciting. So these will be finished the next time I film. And then I would have space on this piece of fabric for September, and then I have more fabric to do the rest of the series. My hope for non-full coverage WIPGO is not panning out. WIPGO is not paying attention to my wishes whatsoever. And as the person who is running WIPGO, that's really quite ironic. But I keep waiting for things like December Quaker to be called for WIPGO because then I can work on some other things because I'm stitching those in order. And I don't really want to deviate from the in order any more than I already have. So I keep waiting for like some of the later months to be called, but instead, no, they're just getting called in order, which is just, highly frustrating. But anyway, it is what it is. This will help us segue into plans here. So, on the subject of WIPGO, obviously we have the WIPGO calls for June. I did that on the 25th, technically the 24th, but they posted on the 25th. So my May non-full coverage WIPGO pieces were Stark House Banner and Give Thanks by the Drawn Thread. I worked on neither of those last month. I decided to delay them so that I could do the full coverage thing in May. I hope you can hear my kiddo. She's jabbering in the background there. So I will try to work on Stark House Banner this month, and then Give Thanks I will work on perhaps in July or August. I'm not worried about accomplishing the goals on those, but I can't possibly play catch up entirely this month, especially with travel and no. As it stands, I've got way more goals than time, and it's only the 3rd, and I already know that. But that's how I usually do. Full coverage WIPGO, however, I will be sure to save time for once I get back. And so, full coverage WIPGO, I got Snow Castle. Again, WIPGO's not paying attention to me. The projects that I wanted for this month did not get. But anyway, so Snow Castle, artist is Randall Spangler. I am so geeked to work on this again. I am way behind on this one. I am toying with my plan for next year, and this one is my next closest to a finish. For like typical full coverage pieces, Sweater Weather is technically my closest to a finish, but this one is my closest of my traditional or typical full coverage pieces. So I'm toying with this one. So this is the first time this one is coming out. Again, 25 count easy grid, 1/1 full cross. And so half of page 7 of what I have left of page 7 here, which I think is like, it might be 27 or 2800 stitches, I think, to see that accomplished. So Snow Castle is my first full coverage WIPGO piece for June. So that will get worked on at some point. I am not sure when. Also in a brass button project bag, this one's really, really cool. In here is my Ravenkin. So excited to work on Ravenkin, even though I would have preferred it in like spooky season. But that's okay. It's all right. So this one I worked on in, now I can't remember whether it was March or April, but it doesn't matter. So this rotation, I will finish page 2. And I'm really, really excited to see that Raven silhouette truly come to life. Right now we can see a wing of that silhouette, but not much more. Forgive the parked threads. It's my method. It's my madness. So yeah. I made it worse. How did I do that? There we go. Comedy of errors going on here. So yeah, so there's Ravenkin. So I will get that page finished, and then this one will be done for the year. So that'll be fun to have that page finished. So that covers the WIPGO plans. So yeah, so now we're going to talk about some other things happening. I have 2, possibly 3 new starts. We'll see about the 3rd, but 2 that I am officially planning for either before I leave for StitchCon or while I'm there. I don't love making new starts while at retreats. I get too flustered. It's not a great environment for making sure that I'm starting in the right orientation in the right spot. But one thing that I have been anxious to start is Beautiful Things by Lindy Stitches. And then Carolyn over at Seazook Stitch mentioned that she and Candy the 614 Stitcher were bringing theirs to work on at StitchCon this year. I'm going to be there, so I am probably going to start this. I have wanted to stitch this forever for my kiddo. So I'm really looking forward to starting this. I have the physical copy here, but I also purchased the PDF from Lindy Stitch's website because it's Pattern Keeper compatible. So that is the plan there. I don't have the Classic Colorworks. I'm either going to procure said Classic Colorworks or do a GAST conversion or a DMC conversion. I am not super particular on that. Gorgeous, gorgeous pattern. So that will be a lot of fun. Okay, so I've been a little bit removed from the FlossTube community. During my break, I not only took a break from filming myself, but I kind of took a break from watching much in the way of FlossTube, and I wasn't on Instagram for stitching purposes a whole lot in that interim. So when I kind of decided to try to maybe make a comeback, I threw myself headfirst into watching FlossTube videos and immersing myself again in cross stitch on social media. And that happened within the last, I want to say, week or so. So one new Instagram account that kind of popped up recently is Cross Stitch Salander. Let me look him up real quick. Yes, crossstitch_Salander. So this is genius. And so Salix stitches, boomerang stitches, and cozy town stitches, thank you all so much for this. So this is essentially, they have compiled a resource, a location where you can go to look at sales that are coming up or ongoing. And they have all of the information, the hosts, the what, the dates, if there are. I mean, this is great. This is magical. And so when I first saw their account, I went scrolling and I landed on two where I was like, I'm gonna jump in on those if I can make it happen. And so one is hosted by Marjorie Made Stitches, and it is the Strawberry Moon Sal. So the full moons of each month have a name, and in the month of June, it's the Strawberry Moon. And so we are tasked with starting and or working on things with strawberries. The other stitch along where I was very much let me into that one is June Dog, and this is hosted by Andy of Crow Stitcher here on FlossTube. And they have hosted this stitch along for a few years now. I am so thankful that it has reached my eyeballs or reached my ears or what have you, because I am such a long dog fanatic right now. Whenever I work on Ragnarok for my small monthly goal, I want to abandon all plans and just work on that nonstop. I love that project and I love long dog stitching. And so Ragnarok is probably going to get a more significant rotation here in June than it technically should. But whatever, I'm not bothered because Andy told me I could. However, I decided I wanted to try to have a new start for June Dog because I need another long dog sampler, like I need another hole in my head. Which is to say that I don't, and also I do at the same time. And so I went looking through the long dogs that I have in my stash and on the website, and I found so many things I want to start. So many. I have 5 on the go currently. Ragnarok, Sanssouci, Kinto Akuto, Opening Gambit. 4 currently on the go. And this week I'm going to be starting Beauty Spot. So preview here of what this will look like finished. This is different than my other long dogs. It's not one of the what you might initially think of when you think of long dogs. It's not monochromatic. It's not it's kind of atypical. I mean, long dog has a wide range of different aesthetics and covering different topics of information and periods of history and whatnot. But this one is different because it's very colorful and it's more of it's a spot motif sampler rather than, I don't know, whatever whatever you might describe with the more geometric styling of typical long dogs. Anyway, I'm geeked about this. The dodo obviously is what drew me in first. This is more nature-based, and it is so good. It is kind of a sibling piece to Sunspot, and that's SONNE SPOTTE, Sunspot, which is leaning more towards politics of the era, and then Beauty Spot is more of the natural world. And I love that the dodo is featured because they're just fun. Anyway, I love this whole piece, and I'm so geeked to start it. I have that one ready to go to either start, like I said, today, tomorrow, or during StitchCon this week. Geeked about it. So that's going to be the piece that I work on for both June Dog and Strawberry Moonzel. And thank you all so much for your stitch alongs and for opening them up to anybody and everybody. It's just really cool to see what everybody's working on for those. So that is the plan there. Another piece that I always take with me on retreats, and I always find myself spending a lot of time with, and is very timely, living in this project bag by, this is a stitch and button bag as well, and in here lives my Modern Folk Embroidery Pride style piece, Move Forward in Love. So this was released by Jacob a number of years ago, based on something that Imogen said at the end of their videos, Move Forward in Love. And so Jacob created this piece that I am a little over a quarter of the way through. It's so little. Why have I not finished this yet? Mostly because I really enjoy stitching on it, but nonetheless, so I will definitely be working on this because I take this with me to every retreat. It's just good retreat stitching. It's colorful, but it's not super confetti heavy. It's Pattern Keeper compatible. So there's that. There are a multitude of versions for this piece. I'm stitching the colorful version, obviously, using the called for DMC. The only exception is that around the outside, I'm using a thread called Bradley's Balloons by Threadworks. I'll put on the screen here the number, because sometimes you can find Threadworks like on 123 Stitch by the name, but their tags only have a number. So it's called Bradley's Balloons, but it's also referred to by a number. So yeah, I'm looking forward to working on this and working towards the finish. This will come up at some point on my non-full coverage whipco board, and this is one that I will just go ahead and finish this year because I want it. I want the finished piece. Very, very cool. So that is the plan there. Do I have any other here? I have a couple more. There's also Jacob June, so that will work for Jacob June if I work on it, if I get to it. I always think that I'm going to have more stitching time at retreats than I actually will. So I'm going to bring a lot of plans and maybe only work on just the Quakers. We'll kind of have to wait and see. There are a couple of recent releases that I am wanting to get to. Jacob of Modern Folk Embroidery released a Free Palestine piece that I would like to dive into, and then Miriam of Madarumi Designs released her Pride piece, and it is stunning. I love stitching Miriam's borders, and so I have that to start perhaps this month, or maybe I'll wait until I finish Move Forward in Love. We'll kind of wait and see. I like the idea of having a Pride piece on the go at all times. So those are some things that are percolating in my mind. If you are coming to StitchCon Weekend A, and I know we don't have a huge window here, we don't have a whole lot of time, But if you are coming to StitchCon Weekend A and there is a project of mine, either a finished piece that is not framed because I am flying, so I cannot bring any framed pieces, but if I have any unframed pieces that you know of from watching me over the years, let me know if you want me to bring it, or perhaps I have a whip that you want to see in person. Let me know, and I will see if I can squeeze more stuff into my bag. I haven't packed yet, and I've got to get that taken care of. Just a real quick thing here about StitchCon. I don't know why, but I am super anxious. I am really, really anxious. I'm usually anxious leading up to travel, but this year in particular, I'm just like I'm spun up really tight. I don't have a planned group of folks that I'm gonna sit with. I don't have a plan for like anything. I am just flying by the seat of my pants, quite literally. And for whatever reason, that's got me anxious. That was what I went into last year with Weekend B. I didn't have a plan group or table or anything. And I landed with a really great table. And so I'm not sure what this energy is. That being said, if you see me at StitchCon, please come up and say hi. Because I'm this weird, nervous ball of energy right now, and so I'm not sure. And so I'm not sure how great I'm gonna be at initiating conversation. So please just come up, say hi. And if you are playing WhipGo, especially, be sure to find me. I might have something. I'm not going to share it here, but if you're playing WhipGo, maybe come find me if you are at StitchCon this weekend. Yeah, I don't know why I'm so nervous, but I am. I really am. My flight gets in around 12 on Wednesday, 12 noon, and I am staying at the Live Inn. That's where I stayed last year, and I got a please come stay with us. Here's a really great rate. So I booked that, and so I'm going to stay at the Live Inn again. And so I will be there Wednesday afternoon, and I have no plans. I have no plans. I'm going to do some stitching. I'm going to hug some people. I'm going to cry. I know that. I know all of those things because that's what I do at every retreat. I'm also probably going to get a migraine. So yay. But anyway, yeah. Can you tell the nervous energy? It's palpable. So yeah, I think that's it. As far as the plans and the stitching that I have done recently. Thank you to those of you who checked in during my break. We're doing well over here. Kiddo is thriving. We are living life. We are heading into summer, which is definitely not my favorite. I have seasonal affective disorder from now until the end of September. Yeah, I'm not great. I'm not great in the summertime. Why on earth I go to all of these retreats in the summertime, I will never understand about myself. So yeah, so we're doing okay. And so thank you all for checking in, and thank you for your continued support of me and my channel. It means a lot. So I am going to head off. Happy stitching, everybody. As always, be kind. And I will see you in maybe the next one. Definitely the next one. It's just a matter of when that will be. All right. See you then. Take care, everybody.